Hello and welcome everyone, Tallgeese here, and let's talk about the upcoming Gundam game, Gundam Evolution. And for those out of the loop, Gundam Evolution is going to be a first-person hero shooter announced for PC. And in this video, I want to talk about the roster, because while we have a handful of mobile suits announced, I want to talk about mobile suits that I hope get in. And I'm not just going to list off 8 of my favorite mobile suits. What I want to do is give you guys 8 mobile suits that I believe would be the most diverse for this cast. I want to give you guys 8 mobile suits that will have unique main weapons, unique skills, and unique alts. So in this video, we're going to be going over some mobile suits, talking about what the kits can be, and maybe what the alts can be. And to make things a little more difficult for me, I'm going to set some ground rules. First is I'm also going to be aesthetically diverse, because I could easily list off 8 Jims and 8 Sakus and call it a day, because yes, while they would play differently, they still have the same aesthetic. And since we have mobile suits from different series, such as the Dom Trooper from Seed or the Barbados from IBO, I am going to try to give you guys suits from different series. But anyways, in no particular order, let's get into this. So we're going to start this list off strong, and I'm going to say a mobile suit that I know a lot of you guys want. Because who doesn't want to play as this mobile suit in a Gundam FPS, or just in a Gundam shooter in general, and that's the Kampfer. Having things like dual bazookas, a shotgun, dual stormfast, and the iconic chain mine, the Kampfer would fit easily in a hero shooter setting. And the biggest question would be what to leave out for this guy, because he has so many tools. So obviously his main gun's gonna be the shotgun, but for the rest of his kit, we're gonna have to think about it, because he could have skills like his dual stormfast or his dual bazookas, or he can have a movement skill that lets him do that dash where he goes low to the ground, allowing him to get to places fast. Then there's the obvious chain mine. If the Kampfer's in this game and the chain mine is not part of his kit, I'm rioting. Now this could be a simple skill that he just throws at an enemy, it ensnares them for a little bit, then it explodes, and his ult could most likely be the same thing he has in the Extreme Versus series, where he just does a plethora of rocket shots one after another. Now whatever the kit is for the Kampfer, I think we can all agree on his playstyle. We want to be as low accurate as possible. He's going to be a squishy but very fast mobile suit meant to go in, get up close and personal, and burst down the enemy, then leave. Alright, so I know it, you know it, there's a lot of people that are gonna want a G-Fighter rep, and honestly, I do believe one's gonna get in, because who doesn't want to punch the shit out of the enemy in a first-person shooter? You know, I could've just add the God or the Master Gundam in and called it a day, but I did want to challenge myself, and not only that, I feel like we're missing out on something if we don't go more in deep with G Gundam, because they have such unorthodox mobile suit designs that I feel like they would translate so uniquely and adds a really nice diversity to the cast if one gets in. So for my G-Fighter rep, I chose the Spiegel Gundam, because I think having a nimble ninja character archetype in this game would be pretty interesting. Now with a roster filled with giant robots with big guns, throwing in this ninja that's just gonna be flipping everywhere, throwing explosive kunais, and doing all this ninja bullshit is gonna add this nice diversity and just have something that just sticks out to everyone else. Now for his main weapon, we can obviously give him his explosive kunais, fairly simple right there. Now we can do a lot of things with skills, being able to throw his net as a utility, being able to do things like teleports or turn invisible, have shadow clones maybe for an ultimate. He can have any ninja shenanigans he wants. And if he does make it, I hope they just be creative with them, because honestly, they could just get another popular ninja from a different hero shooter, reskin him and call it a day, but let's be optimistic here. Now let's mosey on to Gundam Wing, and yeah, if we get a rep from Gundam Wing, it's most likely going to be the Wing Gundam, but they got plenty of other cool mobile suits like the Sandrock and obviously the Heavy Arms, because who doesn't want to play as a walking Gatling gun with missiles? While I do love the G-Team and their mobile suits are really cool, they're not my favorite mobile suit in Wing. My favorite Wing suit is the Tallgeese, and that's what I would like to see in this game. Either be the 1, 2, or 3. Now no matter which Tallgeese we choose, they're still gonna have a similar style. They're gonna be light, fast mobile suits with a heavy hitting main gun. Either be the Mega Cannon on the Tallgeese 3 or the Dober guns found on the Tallgeese 1 and 2, I would depict them as slow rate of fire but accurate and high powered guns. And while the Tallgeese 2 and 3 have more bells and whistles, I would still depict them as being very fast suits with most of their skills being movement based. What I would think would be that they would have a skill that would let them jet in any direction they want, or even hover in the air and kinda have like a pseudo flight ability while they take pot shots sniping people from the sky. Now if we want to add a little bit more to this, we could have some skills be acrobatic like moves like cartwheels, or maybe you can have like a rapid fire type move. Then, you know, the 1 and 2 could use things like missiles, or the 3 could use his heat rod, or use his max output mega cannon. Now as for alts, the Tallgeese 1 I really can't think of anything. But for the Tallgeese 2 we could copy the Extreme Versus series, which would look really interesting to see in an FPS. And for the Tallgeese 3 we could simply just do the high output mega cannon and call it a day. But at the end, be the 1, 2, or 3, I do like the idea of having a mobile suit in this game that could zip around the sky without being a transformable mobile suit, cause it would look nice. You look up and you see a Tallgeese taking pot shots while it's taking sharp turns going all over the place. So for our next entry, we're gonna be going back to UC, and we're gonna have to fast forward a little bit all the way up to Victory Gundam. Now what I chose is not the Victory or the V2, it's a mobile suit that when I saw it, I thought, what the hell is that thing? And even to this day, I still think, what the hell is that thing? Because it still appears in various games, and that would be the Gedlav, also known as that mobile suit that pilots that giant ass wheel. So why the Gedlav? Well, it's gonna have some simple tools like being able to shoot its beam cannons on the side, or shoot the rockets up top. But you and I both know that's not why it's on this list. It's on this list because I want to run people over. Either be a skill or an ultimate, running someone over in this game would be really satisfying, and either knock some down and they have to get back up, or hit some and they just drag along with you. Now this could be great in terms of gameplay because it allows you to focus down one character. If there's one suit that's giving your team a problem, you can just run them over and take them somewhere else, or you can run them over, knock them down, and everyone can focus them, so it does have some actual merit. Not only that, I'd assume either just be his base speed or a skill, this guy would be much faster than other mobile suits. So this could translate from going to point A to point B much faster, allows you to get to certain key points faster than others, or allows you when you respawn get back into battle much faster. So this guy's job, where if he's on the enemy team, could be anywhere at any time, because even if he's across the map, it's not going to take him too long to get to the other side. Alright, so next up is the Gouf Custom, because I know it's going to be on a lot of people's lists, because who doesn't love the Gouf Custom? It's a Gouf, it has a giant Gatling gun, this thing is beautiful looking, look at this thing! He's beautiful! So in all seriousness, the Gouf Custom would translate so easily into a hero shooter. The only problem you would have is what would his ult be, because everything else is fairly simple. His main gun, the Gatling shield, that's pretty obvious. His skills, you could both make it a heat wire attack. You can make one of his skills, he just hits someone with the heat wire, it electrocutes and stuns them, and the other skill could just be using the heat wire as a grapple hook. It's a fairly simple idea and it's fairly effective. You could use it to get the higher ground, use it to escape, use it to get behind enemy lines. It's a fairly straightforward mobile suit, and that would be a really cool addition. Now with all that being said, you could get everything I just said, maybe tweak a few things, and you could add the Gouf Ignite. The Gouf Ignite playstyle wise would play basically like the Gouf Custom. It would have a machine gun for main weapon, it could use its heat rod like a heat wire, you can hit someone and it stuns them, or you can use it to swing around. If you wanted to, they would both play extremely similar, and I just wanted to say this just to get another rep in, just because, like, come on, the Gouf Ignite, like, I know people like the Gouf Custom, beautiful looking dude, absolutely amazing, I would trust my life with him. However, the Gouf Ignite, still very good looking suit, beautiful thing, and it is orange, and that would add some diversity, because there's not really that many orange mobile suits. So for the next mobile suit, we're going to be going with a popular one, and I feel like a lot of you guys know it, and a lot of you might even have it on your list. But why I want to have it is because I feel like if he gets added in, his playstyle would be fairly unique compared to everyone else, and that's the Zeong. With the Zeong's wired hands, this would add a fairly unique playstyle to this guy. The idea of you being able to run around while sending your hands to harass the enemy at a distance seems like an interesting playstyle. Now this could also be fairly annoying trying to catch the Zeong while his hands are behind you smacking you in the back of the head. Now this would need some fine tuning because I could see this becoming a problem because the Zeong could be behind cover and you could be behind cover and the Zeong would be able to hit you but you wouldn't be able to hit him. Now his wired hands aren't the only unique thing about him, he does have a beam on his mouth and in his chest, and also his hands can still do things while they're attached to the Zeong, which could give him maybe a unique horizontal shot where he fires all 5 fingers at the same time, making his shots slow, but having a really long horizontal range. So we could sit here talking about every orifice the Zeong has and where beams can come out of him, but in total, he has a good amount of things about him where you can make a character either be his main gun be his finger beams that shoot a horizontal shot, him having a skill that can send out his hands, having another skill that could be a quick shot from his mouth or a very powerful shot out of his chest. You got a lot of things to work with. But now for his ultimate, he does have some unique things he could do, but personally, I like the one he has in the Extreme Versus series where he just shoots beams out of every orifice of his body, because if you hit everything, you technically don't miss, and I feel like that'd be fun. So looking at this list so far, I'm missing 2 things. First is a tank unit. I haven't really said anything that's going to be really bulky in the battlefield, slow but able to do some heavy damage. And I'm also missing a 00 unit, so let's go over there. So what I'm thinking about is the Gundam Virtue. So let's get the simple things out the way first. Looking at him, you can easily tell he's a big bulky guy, fitting the tank role easily. And having things like the GN barrier, he will have a tool that's able to protect himself, which allows him to go even more in and take even more damage. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the GN bazooka. So the GN bazooka hits hard, really hard. It's a very massive gun, it's powerful, it's intimidating, and you do not want to be in the opposite side of this thing. Not only that, if the Virtue decides to fire this thing in maximum output, you're gonna have a hell of a beam. And that's also something we're missing. How are we gonna have a Gundam game from various different series, having various different mobile suits, and not have a mobile suit that vomits out beams like it's nothing? Now I did touch this with the Zeong, but I want massive beams. I want things to cover large portions of the area for no reason whatsoever, and I feel like the Virtue just fits that perfectly. Can you imagine if there's this long corridor and the Virtue just fires a maximum output shot? It just puts a giant no-go zone, and it just makes everyone know, hey, no one's going here for as long as I stop shooting. And having things like his smaller GN cannons on his shoulder and his GN barrier like I said, you could make a very interesting kit with him. Now there is a small problem. The Virtue can purge his armor becoming the Nidalee Gundam, and this is a very big thing that he can do, so I feel like leaving it out will do the Virtue... I feel like it would just do the Virtue dirty. However, I do not want them to add it in because I feel like that would make a single character too complicated of having completely 2 different kits, making it pretty powerful. Or it could just very limit the kit, making them short-handed. Now a simple solution is just to add any of the suits to your pilots because they all have a similar feel. They're all big, bulky mobile suits with a whole lot of cannons on them, and those cannons shoot a whole lot of shots, from small to really big. And honestly, later on, especially in Awakening the Trailblazer, it gets kind of ridiculous, but if they want to add it in, be my guest. Now moving to the last mobile suit on this list, I did say this list was in no particular order, well, I kinda lied. The last mobile suit is the last one for a reason, and that's more because it's not a specific mobile suit, it's a concept. And that concept is, I'd like to see an SD mobile suit in this game. Now, when I say SD, a few things come to your head. But what I'm not talking about is just the regular SDs, where it's just a regular mobile suit shrunk down into those proportions. What I'm talking about are things like Gundam SD World, where they look like Gundams, but they have a bunch of other crap thrown onto them, which gives them the completely different look. And this would translate nicely into gameplay. There's just so many different SD series, from SD World, where they have things like katanas and blades, where you get Gundam SD Force where they have weapons onto them, or you can go into Gundam SD Fantasy such as the Night Gundam, which is using things like magic and throwing spears at people. You have a lot of options, and I just would like to have an SD in it because I feel like it would be really cool looking at an entire cast of mobile suits and seeing just this one really short thing. Now, no matter who they add, if they're gonna add one, the only thing I can really think about, which could be a slight problem, is that SD Gundams have enormous heads, and that would be a really big target, cause yeah, be pretty easy to headshot one, considering the size of those things, like it's a third of the body. Also, this wouldn't be the first time an SD Gundam got included into regular mobile suits. In the Gundam Extreme Versus series, they got the Night Gundam, gave it regular proportions, and added that into the game. Not only that, in Extreme Versus 2, they actually got Fumina's Star Winning Gundam, which is an SD Gundam that can transform into a regular Gundam and put it in the game, which is the first playable SD Gundam in that series. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this list. Leave a list down below in the comments if you guys have anything you want to throw in. And like usual, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hope to see you guys next time. And hopefully I see you guys in Gundam Evolution whenever it comes out.